And with that, welcome you inside this edition of Big Ten Today, presented by Old National Bank. I'm your host, Rick Pizzo. We are just a few days away from the start of the 2024 NCAA Baseball Tournament, and it does have a Big Ten flavor with 3 teams part of this year's field of 64, including Illinois, Nebraska, and the Indiana Hoosiers. Speaking of Indiana, as we take a look at today's big stat brought to you by Old National, Hoosiers back in the NCAA tournament for the second straight year and the 5th time in the last 7 tourneys. How about that schedule? IU has played 26 quad 1 and 2 games, and the Hoosiers can hit 10 runs or more a dozen times since the beginning of April. This team is top 10 in all of Division I baseball in both doubles and long balls. And as the Hoosiers get set to head to Knoxville for that regional, we're happy to welcome in head coach Jeff Mercer. Jeff, we'll get to that regional in just a bit, but I want to start with the run in Omaha, which obviously helped you guys solidify one of those at-large bids. What'd you like about the way your guys played at the Big Ten tournament?
Well, I thought the first thing that we did was got really good bullpen pitching. You know, our starting pitching was a little bit light from the standpoint that we didn't get the length in the starts that we really wanted, but our bullpen was terrific. They stepped in and they were able to cover those innings, which is huge as you go into the postseason play. You've got to have depth on the mound. Offensively, we were really good the first 2 games and not as much in the last 2, but we played great defense. We took care of the ball. We had a great bullpen. And then offensively, we showed what we can do in those first couple of games. We have to extend those things out and make some better adjustments as we go into the NCAA tournament. But, yeah, I thought we played really well there for the most part, and it always starts on the mound and with our defense.
A nice run that comes up just a little bit short, so you don't get the auto bid, which means you have to wait on Monday watching that selection show. Hank, how anxious were you and the team wondering if you were going to be part of this year's field?
Well, I think after the game was over against Nebraska, I was a little bit concerned just with the way we kind of finished the season and having an opportunity to be the automatic qualifier and then not finishing it off. But once I saw the metrics, you see some of the strength of schedule. You mentioned the quad 1 and quad 2 wins. You look at the league RPI. You look at how well we played the last 6 or 8 weeks. You look at all the teams that we've played. I started to feel a lot better, especially when some of the bid steals that could have happened didn't happen. And across the country, I felt like we had a real opportunity and a real shot. And then you also have to look at the talent of a team. Like, do you have a legitimate opportunity talent-wise to go in and to compete in a regional, to win a regional in advance? And we do. We do have those caliber of players. So I did think going into it that we had a real shot to be a team, both metrically and from an ability standpoint, and the way that we've been playing the last 8 weeks or so. And so I felt a lot better, but I think it's never when you're not the AQ and if you're not a top 20 team, it's always a little bit nerve-wracking when you're sitting there watching and hoping your name pops up.
I guess the good news is you didn't have to wait long because you were part of the very first regional reveal. What was the reaction like from the team when you saw Indiana pop on the screen?
Yeah, it was pure joy. You know, watching those guys jumping up and down, and all of our wives and kids were in, and so watching, you know, my son's 5 turned 6 here shortly, and to see him running around, I think he takes his shirt off and starts swinging it around his head and going bonkers. And you know, it's just there's a lot of joy and a lot of satisfaction and gratification to see guys like Ty Bothwell and Morgan Colopy, your seniors. They get to go back out and play another weekend. Your draft guys get to go back out and play another year, wear that cream and crimson represent. You get to spend another week with those guys. It's just you're waiting for the name. Like you said, we have to wait very long, so there wasn't much anticipation. But to watch the room and to watch your excitement and to see your kids and your family and, you know, coaches' wives hugging them and kissing them, it's just a really cool moment to watch all of the work and all of the investment from so many people come to fulfillment all in one moment. It's a really cool moment.
One of 3 Big Ten teams in this field. Obviously, Nebraska gets the AQ, but Illinois joins you as an at-large. As a Big Ten baseball coach, how nice is it to see the league getting a little bit of respect on Selection Monday from the committee?
It was a big deal. It's a big deal. You know, the Big Ten's a good baseball conference. I think this year we were 4th in the country in RPI. And that's a huge component of as we continue to advance the program, or I'm sorry, the conference, especially with the West Coast schools joining. is that we do have a footprint. We do have a hold in the postseason and the representation because we are. The investment financially, the investment facilities, the recruiting, all of those things have continued to grow and improve over the last 5 to 10 years. And so to see that bore out on the selection show was a big deal. And to see those guys in the NCAA tournament's a big deal. Now we need to go. We need to play well. We need to represent the league at a high level. We need to compete at a high level. We need to advance. We need teams that not just go to regionals, but as a conference, we need to advance into super regionals and beyond. We need to go back to the World Series as a league. And so it's a big deal to have that representation is the respect of the national audience. And now we need to go and uphold that. And we need to go and play at a high level, all of us, not only this year, but into the future. And so I think it's a statement for the entire league and then hopefully for the future success to come as well.
Jeff, I know you open against Southern Miss on Friday afternoon, a team that a lot of Big Ten baseball fans may not know a lot about, but a really solid team. I believe they have the longest streak in the country of at least 40 wins in consecutive seasons. What should we know about your first opponent?
Incredibly tough, very fundamental, high batting average, a lot of doubles. The starter they're going to throw is excellent, a great changeup. They're just tough, and a lot of people think toughness is hollering and yelling and those things. And toughness is executing your plan in the game and staying committed to it and not coming off of it. And so those guys are going to be incredibly tough. They're talented. They're tough. They're very well coached, as you said. Their success speaks for itself. And they're going to be prepared to kick your butt. And so you're not just going to go in and out talent these teams. You're not going to go in and show up and just, hey, you have some guys with 95 and you have some draft picks on your team and they don't care. So do they. And so every team they play against is of that caliber and of that ability. And so you have to go in and you have to compete to the game and you have to stay to your plan and execute your plan at a high level or they're going to run you off the field. And so that's the message to the guys. And I would say that to the community of folks that are going to watch these games is, all these teams are great. All these teams are talented, but these teams are tough. And they stay dedicated. They stay true to their plan. They don't come off of it.
Jeff, you mentioned the bullpen usage. I'm curious, as you head into a regional setting, you rotated the starters late in the year, and that bullpen did get an awful lot of use late in the year and in the Big Ten tournament. You're willing to use that bullpen for multiple innings. Yeah. What's the strategy in terms of rotation and using the pen in a regional setting?
Well, when you're looking at, for us, the last month or 6 weeks, every game is essentially a playoff game. And so you got to go to the next guy as fast as you need him. And so when you start to look at your starters, you're your starter of your inning, and you're the closer of your inning. And as soon as you're out of gas, you got to go to the next guy. And so that's helped us with our bullpen is, hey, man, we just need you to finish this inning. And if once you're out of gas, you're out of gas, and we'll go to the next one. And Coach Clance done a great job of building a bullpen that has firepower. We have real stuff. We've got guys that are mid to upper 90s coming out of the pen at times. And so when you've got those guys and you feel good about them, you trust them, we just need you to give us, can you give us 3 to 5 innings in a start? And as soon as you start to lose it, we're going to the next guy, and you break it up and you chop games up that way. But it also allows you to get those guys back up again. If I've only gone 3 or 4 innings, I could potentially come back later in the tournament, later in the weekend. And that's helped us as well. So, we would like Bothwell and Foley to give us length, but if they can't, no problem. You got Reisdorf and Naden Decker-Petty and Jacob Vogel and Drew Burr, and you've got these guys who are of equal caliber and are ready to come in and kind of be the fireman and put fires out and finish the inning and give us a chance to stay in ball games. So we're really fortunate to have the bullpen that we do. It's really carried us over the last 6 weeks or so.
All right, finally, Jeff, I'm going to finish with what's probably the hardest question to answer. What exactly will it take for you guys to get out of a regional that does include not just Southern Miss, but also the #1 team in the country in Tennessee?
Well, you got to be tough, and I know it's cliche, but you have to stay committed to your game plan. If it's a 2-1 changeup and the plan's to take a changeup, you got to take it. You can't roll over. You can't hit double play balls. You're going to have to execute pitches. You're going to have to get fastballs in when they're called in. You can't leave them over the plate. You have to execute the plan. You have to stay emotionally under control. You can play with emotion, but you can't play emotionally. You got to compete to the best of your abilities, but also controlling yourself and not losing focus on the foundation, the fundamental aspects of the game. And then we're going to have to play really high defense, a high level of defense, and you have to hit with guys in scoring position. You got to take care of the ball, and you can't leave guys on base. If you do those things, you're going to have a real chance to compete in this. And you got to find your way to Saturday or Sunday with a chance to win it. And someone's going to have to step up. You're going to have a real performance. You know, you can have all the best coaching in the world, but it's the Johnnies and Joes, man. It's the guys on the field. It's the guys that are playing the games, and someone's going to have a big day, whether on the mound or offensively, and they're going to have to find a way to carry you over the finish line there. And if you do those things, you have a chance. And the reality is we're talented enough, we're capable, we have the guys that can do it. You just have to go make it happen at this point.
And we look forward to watching Indiana opening up against Southern Miss. Jeff Mercer, we truly appreciate the time. Safe travels down to Knoxville, and best of luck this weekend.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Have an awesome day.